Attention! Immediately stop and pause this video and read the following disclaimer. If you are visually impaired, then have a trustworthy individual read the disclaimer for you. You must read the entire disclaimer, otherwise you automatically stipulate to being bound by the terms of the following disclaimer.
Hello. In order to view my video, you have to agree to the disclaimer at the beginning of the video. This is video number 3, the system unmasked, and it's also a continuation of the second part of my motivation for making these videos. Organization, this topic here is organizations have become the humans, and us the peons. Oh yeah, by the way, I'm probably not going to win video editor of the year, but due to time constraints and other pressures, having to do a lot of stuff now, this election, all these maneuvers, like usual, forces people to do moving or do have to do a lot of other things, not necessarily moving, but there's a lot of things I got to get done. So I wasn't able to redo the script. I mean, rehash the script and make it really good. I mean, my information is great. However, the videos are not going to be the greatest in the world. But the most important thing is content. I watch people that got crappy videos, but they got great content. I'll watch it no matter what. I don't know, some other people are sticklers, and that doesn't work for them. But for me, that works for me. So anyway, let me get back to this. Organizations have become the humans, and us the peons. If you watch the news, it makes monotonous statement trends suggesting an underlying theme of brainwashing. These trends, if you keep watching it, you realize that you're kind of being brainwashed. Very subtle, and over time you realize, that, well, I guess some of it might not be subtle, but a lot of times the overall effect is to keep harping in these things. I mean, there are constant retarded brainwashing and moronic statements, For instance, on many broadcasts, they talk about vast mega organizations and monopolies as if they are the human being and have some sort of special rights, but that you and I are just peons. I mean, I think that kind of permeates this whole world, really. Like some countries, they got no rights at all. I mean, or little. So that is disgusting, and it's against all biblical treatment that everybody's an individual, and the individual's judgment is important, what they do. The organization ain't going to be there when it's time to appear before God. So that's a Bible thing. We're judged on what we do, not some corporation or government, etc. It's not only in the news, but the media in general and society in general, judging from experience that these brainwashing things occur. I mean, the sassy attitude has, oops, somebody's talking their hearts. We got noises going all over here. I've been having trouble making these videos because there's a lot of noise even in here. I had to, stuff that's normally on, I had to turn off because it makes buzzing noises and stuff. So we'll see how the sound comes out of this here. The sassy attitude has pervaded all walks of life, as monopolies have total control, so they don't have to worry about the people anymore. The shocking part about it all is that people don't just endorse this monopolistic crap, but are in love with it. It makes one scratch their head in wonderment. The wonderment is that analogously, it is like someone going to jail cell, locking themselves in, and loving it. It makes no sense. It is really frustrating living with a bunch of people that want to become caged animals, as if people want to be, as if people want to live like that, it is okay with me. But the problem comes down to this: when something happens, the organization always has the final say, and thus any other person that does not want to live like a cage animal, unfortunately, is also forced to do so. I mean, it's a very analogous matter to steroids. You know, one person doing something, a bunch of people doing things at a job, and you're forced to do it. I mean, this is constantly over and over again, where it forces people that don't want to be involved, but they always go along with it. So everybody else is stuck going along with this crummy, degraded lifestyle. So you know, that's what that does. So really, it's almost like something should be illegal, because you're forcing me to do stuff that I don't want to do. You know, but I've had to do many things over these past years that before I never did. You know, I wouldn't even consider it, and I begrudgingly do it now. I mean, just as a matter of survival. And probably many of you are like that, but they sure go along with it, hook, line, and sinker. So let's see here. Yeah, so because the way this world works is by majority rule, and therefore moronic rule, that is only when moronic ideas and people override good ideas and the good people. You know, Robert Fulton invented the steam boat or whatever, I think it was, and he was laughed out of town basically, and you know, until he was shown to be a magnificent invention. So that shows you the morality of what occurs in society, just following like a little dweeb, you know, whatever, doing. I mean, you know, there's good uses of it, but it's not to be a daily thing where you should be following bad stuff. You know, if you're following good stuff, I guess it's a different story. You know. So anyway, organizations do what they want to do. Organizations do what they want, and you do the time, because it's your screwed up lifestyle, and they're not, you know, organizations are just imaginary. They're, you know, I mean not imaginary, but they're made up of people, so it's still people, and but they allow people to degrade their lifestyle with it. So, you know, and that's smart, you know. You're going to do the time, and they're going to wreck everything, you know. That's brilliant. So on to the next topic. We have when 1% have most of the wealth. Let's see. Take a look at this here. Yeah, you know, there's a lot of lighting in here, so it's hard to see how this, you know, it just this 1%. It's amazing. It keeps getting worse and worse. You know, like it's like 50% of the it's 50. The 1% now own more than the middle class. It's like they own over half the wealth now. So we're really in danger land. And amazingly, it keeps getting worse. And the reason why it keeps getting worse has to do with the messenger has returned, and it's an effort to stop God from rebooting this world in something better. And we're at the end of it, really. I explain later why we've been, you know, about when my theory of the messenger has returned and been born, and also the Antichrist is born. That's all indications from all logic is that this is going on right now. You'd think people would, you know, would pull the reins back on this one, but they don't, you know. And this wealth and power delusion must be shared by most, as otherwise I would be broadcasting and this saying aren't the roses smelling nice today, instead of this other stuff. So instead of going over these extremely negative topics, the illusion that somebody is going to going to make it into this elite group of 1% is like winning the lottery delusion. You know, it probably ain't going to happen. And one must remember that a lot of this 1% of people are family Klingons that will be getting all the loot from the family inheritance. So that leaves you out, Joe or Josephine, the plumber, whose common family background is a bunch of unwealthy nobodies. So that 1% gets carved down to a 0.1% or less, you know. So if you played basketball, you wouldn't take a 3-pointer over a no-brainer layup. So why would anyone gamble their whole life over this pipe dream of trying to make it into the elite? Well, I do have to say that the Antichrist thing being in power, that's what this whole thing is. Once that's over with, they're trying to get them into power, and then after all that, then they go, oh my, you know, everything's going to become wonderful. But it's not, because you didn't test God's test. This is a test to see what the hell you do, what you're worried be going on after this. So it's not people aren't going to disappear and live happily ever after, because God is the one that has to say so where you're born and everything. So, you know, we're going to have to further review. It's all coming back. You're not going to be. So people are all treating me like an idiot and a bimbo, and like a lot of people that got good ideas, and that's not going to wash in the end. You know, that's not going to wash. It's not the way it's going to be. It's not the way this works. People got the way of the Antichrist is the way, or the devil, or whatever is the way things work, and it's not that way. But you know, anyway, so the 3-point strategy is the norm, not the exception in this world. People gamble everything just for that one little thing to get on top. You know. Sorry, good buddy. You have picked the wrong time to bet the farm on a long shot. Why is this the wrong time? It is because we're in the Armageddon, the time of Antichrist and Jesus' successor, not to mention other people in the world with religious powers. And like I mentioned, like Hispanic stuff has something to do with this, because we know wherever you follow something going on, like the Mexico situation, now they closed off kind of the borders and all that, you know, we'd probably be on to something else. You know, you have to have there has to be some reason about something like somebody, people with religious powers involved, you know. And why did China lay dormant for so many years? And then all of a sudden, in the last couple of decades, has become a super force. You know, it has to do all revolves around this religious crap, and not like what they're trying to tell you. It's just that they decided to, decided to just explode into economic. Because China's a very that's a controlled country. I mean, you know, they've been the same way for thousands of years. So it's kind of odd that they would. It has something spectacular was going on. That's what I say it is. So in this crazy theory of this betting everything on a big gamble is leading to extreme problems, as this 1% and the 1% theory is leading to problems, as these 1% somehow think they are gods and the regular people are peons. There are consequences of this lifestyles of the rich and famous attitude that has become so important. So rampant, I mean, I'm sorry, not important. Yeah, you get these people thinking that they're going to go in these, I'm going to be sitting up here getting fried like a Rice Krispie or, a French fry, and they're going to be underground and continue the same stuff. They're thinking like they're delusional because God has already spoken, about this issue. So you can escape, but you can't escape, because there is no escape for anyone. You can't get away from judgment time. So the next topic is fear is like baseball's changeup. Our world has become riddled with fear really, I know some practical experience. That is incidents, and I know what causes much of this fear. It is organizations and individuals creating conditions that cause more and more fear to be created and to propagate. Fear is a people controlling tool, is analogous to baseball's changeup. For the brushback pitch is another splendid example. Let me explain. If someone is constantly off balance, and that is in the grip of fear, then that clouds their judgment, and they make decisions that are the easy way out instead of challenging organizations and individuals in an injustifiable manner. They start letting things go that they normally wouldn't. Example, like utilities raising their rates, 50%, and that is due to the fear that grips them. So, like a change-up that throws one off balance, fear does likewise. This fear helps lower morale, and that people start doing things that are bad for themselves and our society. Voila, drugs, substance abuse, and so the snowball of fear grows into a big boulder. It would be nice if my video presentations could help people realize that first they need to lighten up much, and then tackle the fear issue. It gets very wary to be around people that are always running around like scared jackrabbits, as the vibes of tension they give off stink. This fear attitude was not so noticeable in my youthful days as it is now. Since 9/11, 2001 type worries were not around back then. But it is no excuse to let the whole world fall apart, as we must press on, as this example, coronavirus, could get much worse. All it would take is a little bit of fear reducing by each person, and the problem would seem to solve itself. It would take, if everybody started reducing fear and then reducing it a little farther and a little further, I mean, preferably they just do it overnight, because it's ridiculous. You mentioned something, you're going to go, I need a shovel at the store, and then they start looking at you like you're needing it for serial killing or something. I mean, these are so paranoid. They're watching TV. They're so paranoid. It's just unbelievable how people become with this, using television and media stuff as an excuse to act like a moron or something. It really is crazy, and and it morphs into this Hitleristic society. Like, you go to the store and ask for something, and now they're making something big, big production that you're going to be using it for something else. I mean, we need to set some laws of people just doing that, because they run around making, people into monsters when they have nothing to do with it at all. If a person starts running around tattling on not tattling, but making up a story, they should be held accountable for that. You can't just go making up stories that somebody is, and it starts a big thing. And you even get like law enforcement involved. Yeah, they'll call up or something. So these people, these store detective people that are just workers and stuff, is gotten, and the people in general and all over, has gotten to crisis levels. So come on, America and the world, lighten up and realize what these problems are before it's too late. As we're definitely in the almost too late category. We're right on the edge. So the next topic is we're a potentially very serious precipice. It seems the coronavirus is following the same parallel as 9/11/2001. With 9/11/2001, it seems that George W. Bush may have let that happen, possibly because terrorists were going to nuke New York, and not just do the very minimal damage that they did. And ditto with the coronavirus, as it, like 9/11/2001, may have been done deliberately, so they can constantly constantly harp on this issue over and over again in the media, and in that way do what 9/11/2001 did, which is to create a much tougher route to be able to do bioweapon type terrorism. But in the meantime, creating a Nazi-like, the government in the United States is a Nazi-like government. They've, put everything under the umbrella of Homeland Security, and that's a Nazi, they make it seem like that's nothing, but that's like a Nazi, has a potential for Nazi-like usage. So maybe some organization was going to unleash something worse than the coronavirus, and this may have actually prevented the lesser of two evils. That's probably what 9/11/2001 was in a way, but also maybe that Bush let it happen for the purpose of becoming a dictator. So there are many angles to these events, and all world leaders are all gobbledygook over the possibility of becoming the man or woman leading a one-world government instead of taking care of their own country's problems. Yeah, we see that all the time. All these people are getting overexcited. They want to be the one-world leader. That's what the Antichrist has allowed this to happen, and also taking people like my suggestions and my stuff and suppressing the good people, and that's what's happened. That's what it's allowed to do. And it's exactly out of the Bible. Exactly. We are followed exactly the pattern of the Bible of the one world government to a T, where it says that, the woman in the Bible drinking the blood of the saints. Well, most of us aren't saints, and I'm not no saint, I know that, but if you look in the overall picture, we're doing stuff that would consider as a saint of doing some good stuff, I mean, if you're doing above good, you're kind of a saint. So, some are doing real good, and like myself, I always try to do the best, and some people are doing just what they could get by with, and, that may just put them over the top in the end. But that's where this is, get all this excitement about this one world government thing, and you got like Trump, signaling the one world government, 1040, one tax form. You got Google, one page. We got almost like 2 or 1 page of results, when it gets to like one, instead you got millions of pages, you get like one, and they're going to blame it on the excuse that they got so many things, that they can't do it. Well, we had enough about this economic theory. It's really to get the Antichrist in there, just like it explains. All these signals are there, and that's what people are getting overexcited, and that's what Bible warns against, because it would be, a one world government would be nothing to worry about if we were dealing with normal people, but people are all bent on their power, so that's why, and that's the genius of the United States with its Constitution, which has become overridden. It keeps all these checks and balances, which have been, through the computer, has been erased, and nobody did nothing about it. So anyway, so Nostradamus said Nostradamus said in his quatrains, getting back to this potential nuking of New York here. Nostradamus said in his quatrains, 4 lines of verse in a poem-like structure, that in a new city at the 45th parallel, an event would occur whereby almost no one would be left alive. There seems to be the potential of some validity to Nostradamus' writings, even though many deem that preposterous. However, he says some unusual things, with the most important being a date that fits in on the timeline of current events. I'm more on that later, and issue of the year is 1999, but I'll explain more on that later, which almost validates his work, because it's coming up with a date like that. And he's only mentions like 3 or something in his whole work, so So anyway, this lesser of two evils, example, allow 9/11/2001 to prevent nuking, has become allow certain people to become random guinea pigs for some terrorist organizations' actions, so as to disseminate future WMD occurrences, diminish future WMD occurrences. And in the process, we're playing God again, something that people suck at. And the process of letting random people die is a very sad policy, as what it says is that those in charge do nothing to actually solve the problem, taking no chance to expose the real truth of the matter, needed for final permanent solution. Needed for a final and permanent solution, so that they can stay in their offices and shield their candy ass from any fallout. So harming random people also creates a cascade of anger started by those and related persons that got the shaft. So these mass killings is somebody probably got the shaft somewhere. I'm sure many times, or like this guy that destroyed Grand Junction, Colorado, or something because his business was failing. He wrecked the whole town. So that's like a similar type of thing. He could be just a nut, but it could be the other way around. So the real truth that is the linchpin of all mankind's problems, and I mean all, has nothing to do with anything else other than people using godlike spiritual forces and the devil to affect others and outcomes of societal matters. But yet they will suppress this fact that they can so that they can continue playing God unabated. Upon us exposing this suppression, all problems will be solved at once. This becomes public knowledge. Once this becomes public knowledge, then the basis for solving these problems has been achieved and can propagate unfazed. You can't solve a problem until the true basis is known. Yep, it's that simple. Anyway, we are in Armageddon, and that is about as serious of a precipice as this world can get to. Well, I'm reading out my script, but I've been kind of ad-libbing, and I don't know, I guess it has been a little bit affecting the presentation of this a little bit, but I'm trying to squeeze all this in case, probably maybe this won't be able to get any more in. I really might someday redo these videos if I get a chance and make them better. But this devil thing is there is a real force, and some people on the internet got some real brilliant statements of what it is. I mean, it's a force that people can use. It's available to everybody, and that is what people do not want to give that up. Their little thing of God, I mean, there is the fear. What happens is every time these religious people get screwed over, that's when the government and these organizations, that's why they've gotten so powerful. It's because you take the religion out of the world, and you got people that don't think they're God or something when they're not. So this whole thing, this whole thing has led us to this precipice we're at now, where things could get real bad. When I'm gone, there might be a nuclear war or something. There might be. And the other thing is, or it could be this utopian society you're talking about. But guess what? The people that gave me the shaft and screwed me over are not going to be there. So somebody else's, whoever does what's needed and doesn't become an idiot and does what God needs done, is the people are going on. The other people aren't going on. And it says in the Revelation 20 and 21, it explains that, people just like cowards that are wrecking things. You know, it's not just a coward are wrecking things, and people doing on the other extreme, the generals, people are all militarists. They're all not going to be there at the end because they just keep going on with their shit, you know. I mean, you know. So, anyway, now moving on to this coronavirus topic here. Coronavirus is probably 9/11 all over again. I think that coronavirus has the indications of possible deliberate act of genetic engineering terrorism. And the timing is just spectacular. I mean, 2020, we're converging on all this stuff, the Antichrist, the messenger, other people, religious powers, global climate change, all this population explosion. We're converging on every possible factor. You know, every wagons are lit. You know, wagons lit across the country or the world. Because we're converging on every little, you know, freaking possible nerve you could step on. So beware, world. We're in, you know, a real danger zone. So anyway, getting back to this biogenetic engineering terrorism, I think it is partially has to do with Trump's use of Russia on in the 2016 election, which was allowed to happen as the coronavirus is sort of a comebacker or paybacker, as it seems as if it is harmed his election campaign for the bad, not to mention his own behavior, especially when he is going back and forth with China on certain touchy issues. I mean, that's like a red flag right there, and the thing might emanate out of China. So Hillary now just joining trying to join the joining the Electoral College is a good indicator that this coronavirus, this corona election theory, virus selection theory has some merit. So it may have very well have been that the Wuhan government lab in China that caused it. It could possibly, but who knows? It could have been any other country wanting Trump out of there, including his own, as I have heard since he got elected, more anti-Trump rhetoric than any other president. On the other hand, it could have been nature. Rest of my presentation, you know, posits that the messenger has returned as the United States, which makes perfect sense, because there's no other nation on earth that allowed all these races in like this has. So, well, you would expect the messenger to have every race in their country. That makes this whole thing very plausible, you know. Again, yeah, I write down here the severe doubts about the timing is very, very suspicious. That we have the Armageddon going on right now, and 2020 is a very crucial time. It's ironic, again, very, very suspicious that the new virus has an AIDS-like structure, as the timing of age is also very, very suspicious. You know, about 1980, as AIDS hit the scene at about the time when Jesus' successor's return was nearby coming to fruition, and a great way to deny a person a loose and casual lifestyle, if you know what I mean. So yeah, people that have religious powers are used to screw up the world, and then they blame them for it, you know. So that's the culprit is not the messenger; it's the people in this world, that whoever is responsible. So please remember that the AIDS thing and deal for the coronavirus does not have to necessarily be genetic engineering terrorism, as there are people out there that do things in the name of an antichrist, such as deliberately infecting themselves for the purpose of making things bad. Yeah, you say, well, how would that be possible? It's like these terrorists that killed themselves. You know, how would that be possible? Well, they believe the Antichrist is God. And they'll do anything, die for him. Instead of dying for God, they'll die for the Antichrist, but they won't do anything for God. So there are people that are the opposite way of godly people. So anybody that you're saying that's crazy that would give themselves on purpose is bullying, because these people wreck their whole lives for the Antichrist thinking. So it's this coronavirus thing could be still an act of nature or God, not that, but that is doubtful. The problem with any theory, not just conspiracy theory, is that there are about 5 possible causes to any event. 1, an act of the Antichrist-like people. 2, an act of God-like people. 3, the devil, non-human related induced force. You know, the devil is like a spiritual thing. The Antichrist is, got the devil, but it is a person, and Jesus is the same thing, except for good instead. So, and that could be number 4. Actually, 1 is Antichrist-like people. 2 is human-related induced force. 3, 1 is Antichrist-like people. 2 is an act of God-like people. 3 is devil, non-human related induced force. 4 is God non-human related induced force, with the spiritual thing. 5, just plain old random luck. That's the doubtful thing. A lot of things in this world happen for a reason now, because we're in very specific times. The non-human related verbiage is because acts of the devil and God can either be due to a person's actions using a hidden force of good and evil, or ones that occurred without human intervention due to an unknown spiritual force of good and evil, which is called God or the devil. It appears that the government allowed 9/11/2001 to happen at minimum, and this whole viruses of mass destruction thing is possibly very similar in a very similar vein. Stop the insanity now. We're way out there. Something really bad could happen, So something far, like this next topic is something far more sinister could happen, as 9/11/2001 and coronavirus are only wake-up calls. Coronavirus is demonstrating one of the downplayed facts, and that is disease has killed more people than all wars, famines, etc. combined, as germs and viruses don't time off the rest. Not only this, but an engineered germ or virus, especially a virus as it is so much harder to cure, could be magnitudes worse. What if, for example, they spliced a virion and made an AIDS-like virus, only with the coronavirus type contagiousness? The world would be shitting a brick, and so would I guess. So, and that is only the first minimal version, minimal tweak, as they could engineer it with other heinous traits by taking bad traits of other monster viruses and attaching them to this. Already deadly enough, or attaching them to this, the coronavirus, already deadly enough virus, and on it goes. The logic of this is intuitive, and if someone cannot see this, then it is hopeless. This whole genetic engineering thing, at almost all levels, needs to have the cork put back on the genie's bottle and not taken out until an exhaustive rethink is made. And ditto for many other humanity-changing technologies and ill-implemented policies and ways. One area that's maybe okay is that all these sick kids in hospitals could be made a priority for genetic treatment, as it is horrifying what some of them have to endure and deal with. The peculiarity of these sick kids, if you've ever been around them, is that they seem to have a higher level of maturity and humility for most of them, and a higher degree of humility, like I just said, due to imposed suffering of the disease. That makes one wonder, though, if they did get treatment and got well, are they going to become great human beings? like some of the rotten scoundrels in the world. I say this as I've seen and experienced over and over again a person being down on their luck, acting all humble, yet they get out of the hole and they start acting like, yeah, I was suppressed by others, and this system now it's my turn to be a bitch, you know. That's how you become God's bitch. That's the process right there. This is a matter of a person's soul too. Anyway, the severe issue must be tackled now before it's too late, and the coronavirus could be turned into a positive thing if we learn this lesson this lesson has to teach. Well, that ends this thing about my motivation for making these videos, and the next thing will be on the topics I'll be want to cover. So it should get better from that. But let me say this: as we see right now, all this rhetoric we're getting, like even Germany said, oh, we're going to give people a living wage and create a utopian society. We got this bullshit going. Oh, maybe they would do it. I don't know. I mean, people should have it's a very difficult line to toe, because people should have not being held by the system. But if you give them money, then they're thinking about staying around, smoking dope, being aggravating, making noises, being a total jackass. So we're back to the same, we get to the same circular logic in this world. It always is, we keep going around and around and around, going around, have money, become a jackass. Yes, so you never can solve anything, because people have money. You'd think, well, they would be respectful and be a good person, right? Well, that doesn't happen, and they become a jackass. So we get this circular thing, give them money, and they become a jackass. So you get this whole, and then what does this all lead to? Well, it usually leads to law enforcement, law enforcement and court, That's what it winds up to being, instead of we become this. These things shouldn't even be necessary. People should be should be respectful and everything. It shouldn't even be necessary to have any of this crap. And this happens over and over. The circular theory happens over and over. Everything mankind does gets back to the circular theory. You never get to this point and boom, stop. Have money, nope. Or become on this one, become a jackass, and then, you shouldn't get money. That's why that's why this utopian thing and all this communism and all this stuff has always arisen, because you get back to the same point, I mean, it's like the same dual thing, like the economic system and this communism thing. And it's the same. That's why it almost explains it right there. It's always like a circular loop. So anyhow, we got this. You see all this talking wonderful. The government is even they're doing this Real ID Act where the federal government's gonna have their ID thing. Oh, we're gonna push it up to 21, and they're gonna be all real nice. You see, they're getting real nice. Now all of a sudden 2020 is hitting, 2021 is hitting, and you could see the shit starting to hit the fan, They're starting to all renege on it, like these big, oh yeah, we got this $1,200 package for we got the $1,200 package for the stimulus package, but now it's going to be $600, you know, and they're becoming a dickwad, you know. We're starting to get back to their old self because they're trying to cover up the fact that people should be almost in a revolution here, that these laboratories got these, you know, genetic modified laboratories shouldn't even, that should be in the, you know, germ warfare can cause problems like this at any moment. We're getting to this international thing because they want to create a one world government. They need an excuse, so keep effing up everything, and that way you got the excuse that you need a one world government, you need to go to Mars and all this stuff instead of taking care of this paradise planet we have, you know, and then moving on. So we're getting, you know, as I'm, you know, talking about all this, we're getting to be a bigger bitch again, you know. We're trying to get back to that again. And also the $600 thing is a signaling device. Something must happen to the messenger because, you know, right, if you got two people, you know, it's $1,200. All of a sudden he must have lost somebody that's an ally or something, because that's all the signaling shit is in these the government things or whatever, you know, the world, organizational, etc. So that's what this is all about, and you know, we're starting to ramp up to be a bitch again. That's all, and people don't stop it. They don't do nothing. They're not going to do nothing. You know, they allow all these things to happen, all this negative stuff to happen, so they got an excuse. You know, oh my God, we can't. And that's what creating all these problems is. Another thing is to create a problem, keep creating problems to where people just give up. You know, well, someday it might be worse than the coronavirus. You know, I mean, it could easily have been. I mean, they could create viruses and stuff that are so nasty. I mean, what if there's a slip up of one of these labs and it actually gets out, like in the movie The Stand? You know, Stephen King's brilliant novel about the times we're living in here now. It's perfect. You know, there's an old lady sitting on her porch, this old black lady, and she says he's coming. Who's coming? The Antichrist is coming. And that's this time period we're in right now. And that's what it's there to cause problems. You know, but the punishment is eternal. I mean, if you screw me over, you're going to be a slave forever. That's what the saying is in the Bible. So, you know, I know people laugh at that and they take it at a grain of salt, but guess what? They weren't laughing too much when that earthquake hit in Washington, D.C. either. So, you know, that's a sign. These are all signs. Things that are happening are signs. They're not just random events. So we need every person to get, like, try to stop this insanity, you know. And this, the Real ID Act thing poses, we're getting into Hitler status, where we really are. Because now they got all these organizations under one umbrella, and now they got this ID thing. You know, we saw in Nazi Germany that you went anywhere, you had an ID, you know. If you didn't, you were arrested. And we're getting to that point where that'll be possible when this Real ID Act things. And they're going to act all nice, like, yeah, oh, that couldn't happen. We got this, oh, it's a conspiracy theory. We got all that shit. Yeah, until you're in prison. You know, like the Nazis did, until you're freaking in prison. Then you might say, oh my God, it wasn't true. It was true after all. Just like all the crap I'm saying is, you're going to say, well, oh, you're going to laugh and make fun, and, you know, usually that's what happens, anything like a serious endeavor like this is. So these issues, you know, are at the heart of why I created my video, because they're so important. And even I'm mentioning it to certain people, they start to say it like, they act like, oh my God, will you stop talking about that? Well, if there's, they all pretend that, like, the government's never listening, or this is never, oh, that's preposterous or anything. But then you start talking to them, you know, they say, oh my God, well, if nobody is, you know, if there was no surveillance devices or anything around, then why would you be saying that? You know, my assumption is that there must be, because people are all, you know, and that's another thing, yeah, like in society, people are all doing things at certain times, due to this, the way this is. It's like a 1984 novel. So it would be amazing to see, like, I mean, like, what could possibly happen. And the nuke thing is the next plateau here. I think we covered 9/11, the terrorism. We covered the bioterrorism. Oh, and speaking of the bioterrorism, it's, like I said, it's very possible that was from China. However, you never know. What this country here has become has led the way for the Antichrist to get into power in Europe. And the Antichrist needs to be taken down, and it needs to be in Europe. It's surprising that place isn't level nuclear flattened or something after creating World War II, and now this Antichrist thing trying to protect the Antichrist and people like me under siege all the time. And this country here is even mentioned in the Bible. My thing or my estimation is that because it says it mentions like the great prostitute that sits on many waters, and the United States fits that bill perfectly. It's on many waters. And it has all these races, which can be considered many waters, can be considered of all people around the world. You know, like, what's the water? It's the sea, right? I'll see you around, see all these people in one place. And that's what the United States has led the seed, and it let me take the fall to help. It was one of the things that helped. You know, before I check out here, I'm almost in my twilight here, so I just wanted to get this out in the open. That's what's happening, and the Antichrist needs to be stopped, and that's why, like, even some guy from Germany was trying to steal some nuclear materials. He got caught, you know, because the reasons for the nukes is that you can't get the people. They become insulated. You know, especially when they get to this state thing where the state has control, because you got your own little state and you can't get people in or out of there. That's gonna, you know, remove somebody from power, or whatever, or what their evil deed, you know, religiously or otherwise. So that's what the problem. That's what the nukes and all these mass destruction things are. So they're like a double-edged. You know, it's always this. You know. It's always this double-edged sword, you know. You know, it got nukes or whatever. Nukes, WMDs. You know, it's bad. But on the same token, overall they're like the lesser of two evils. Sometimes they're good. You know, stop screwballs. Balls. From, from wrecking oops, we did that again here. The world. So, you know, this constant back and forth there. Oops, I dropped my camera here. Let me get it down here. So this constantly going back and forth with this theorem is, you know, I guess you could say could be the downfall of man here in the middle, because you know, this constant this constant going back and forth with this crap, could lead to the downfall of man. Because eventually something's going to give here. But in the good of nukes and WMDs do is they stop some screwballs from wrecking the world. I mean, you got to give nukes credit. They have stopped wars from happening for a long time. I mean, look, what was it? It's almost like 85 years they've stopped like people from going these big countries becoming warmongering, getting into wars because there's no point to a war with that. So this nukes have been bad mouth, but they've been the greatest thing that ever stopped stop people from this battle that would wreck everything with big countries. But the problem is, I guess, if little countries become like guinea pigs, and they use these little countries just like the Middle East. They use that, and all these other Vietnam and all these other places are become, because they can't fight and create a big world war, so they're used like guinea pigs, and this is it stops screwballs from wrecking the world actually, because who would want to create a nuclear war? There wouldn't be much left. I mean, it wouldn't be worth it. Now they're trying to get to new planets so they can escape, and start this shit all over again. It's just amazing. And that never stops, because they're constantly trying to escape what needs to be done to keep creating this ever-expanding world into the problem. Now they're going out to space. This all should be put the kibosh on until we get this into a direction, straighten out in the proper direction. But no, you got these people that go, oh my God, you see their work. Oh my God, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and that's how it happens. If you're all anxious about everything and not taking it easy and going in a reasonable way, it's going to happen like that, and that's where this comes from. So again, this is almost like the circular argument thing here. It's the same kind of, we go into a big circle. And I guess that you could put the circle here as, the downfall of man could be, the result here. Just like law enforcement in the court is what happens there. It's the same crap. And so anyway, that's what that happens there. So, like I said, if I had more time constraints, I'm very time constrained to what I can do. I know this video isn't turned out perfect, but I looked at it, it's not bad either. It's just not perfect. Like, I can get it, redo it a few times and, make it better, because I know sometimes I have trouble, seeing this with these on, and all these lights is like blinding, it's, so it doesn't get, I have a hard time reading it a little bit with these damn glasses on here, so, but anyway, they're going to have to be, because all these lights shining in my face is, I don't know, TV people do it, So, we're at a big precipice here that, like I got also in this video section, like this remake of the world. Yeah, I mentioned it before. I think the remake of the Day of the Earth Stood Still. I mean, they're both great movies. The first one was great, and then, I don't know when that was made, in the 50s or something. And the second one is great. It was a nice movie, but very well done. And the professor, the guy Klaatu, the guy from space, he goes to the professor, and the professor says he wants to get this, he's asking, well, help us, and he says, I can't change your very nature, and the professor tries to convince him that we're at this precipice, and don't, stop us now, we're at this precipice. He tries to suggests that this alien guy is civilization, you know, things were going bad or something. So he's trying to suggest this precipice idea. I'll tell you, your precipice could get a little, a little tricky. I mean, you know, like I said, you know, a few viruses, some country gets pissed off and they may start making a virus or something. You know, or this one world government thing is really bad, because then you'll have no choice. You'll be living like a little dog. You know, like people do nowadays. They still live like a little dog, and we haven't even got to that point. You know, so the potential for at this precipice thing should have, as Barney Fife said in that TV, the Andy Griffith show, he says, nip it in the bud. We should be getting this shit before it happens. Prevention is worth an ounce of cure. I mean, like, you know, that's the most trite saying, one of the most trite sayings there is, but it's true. I mean, you should never even be getting to this point where people are rolling around like a bunch of retards. You know, I mean, that's the bottom line, is, and therefore I have to roam around like a retard in order to survive. Because this intelligent talk here we're having doesn't work in the real world. People start, you know, you can't do it all at once. They want you to, like, a little bit or something, or they make a little comment. So a lot of people don't even want to talk about it at all. You know, I mean, they're out causing trouble, and they don't want you to talk about it at all, creating all these problems. But it's important. We should. People sometimes do that to me. I said, why are you discussing all this? Well, this is the most important thing. And now we're getting to the point where it is the most important thing. Now they're going to tell me, you know, something screwy, you know. So my logic has been verified from decades and decades ago of talking about this issue that we need to handle. And that's, I'll tell you, the motivation is great. It just feels good to have motivation to talk about this. So this AI thing is another problem, yeah. Like, people are rebelling because they could be replaced. Everybody could be replaced, and then they're not going to have no hero status role anymore, or a problem solver. There's going to be like a, I don't know, social animal or something, maybe. Well, this has been great. I love this thing here that we're getting started to get on a roll, and this thing about motivations are hopefully get on a roll. Thank you very much, and God bless the good people, and people are trying to get out of being the bad people, I guess, too. And all this shit is coming at you as the shit hits the fan. See the little image afterwards. Thank you.
This image represents all the crap coming at you. The average person these days has their plate full. COVID-19, climate change, a new countrywide arms race, oppressive organizations, the Antichrist has returned, and citizens run amok. And there is even more logs on the fire than ever before. The time for reform is now. All of humankind is at the precipice called Armageddon. Missing the boat on this one is not an option. Stay tuned for more of the only realistic unmasking of the world as to how it really operates, and for more real solutions to all the world's problems once and for all. So again, stay tuned as our Cape Crusaders in this world get unmasked one by one. But can the world survive without unknown do-gooders? This is the System Unmasked channel signing off until next time, at the same bad channel at the same bad time.